Golden Girl and the Guardians of the Gemstones.
I know, I hate me too. Hello Champagne Dreamers, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I don't know how you found me, but I hope you'll stick around, hit that subscribe button, especially if you love Golden Girl and the Guardians of the Gemstones, because there's so much more to come. My name is Janessa, and I am North Dakota's Trash Queen of Glam, Geek, and Gore. And this is my series, Miss J's Retro Rewind, where we talk about vintage toys and retro pop culture. And this is the second video on Golden Girl and the Guardians of the Gemstones. If you want to find out all about how Golden Girl was created and why and when and where and how for and why come, girl, why not? Then definitely check out the first video in this series where we talk about all of that and we go through the 11 dolls in the line. But if you want to know more about their fantastic fantasy fashions, then stick around because that's what we're doing in this video and we're getting into it right now. Yes, in part one of this little mini-series within a series, we started talking about Golden Girl and how it was developed as a sort of companion line for He-Man. It was created by competitor Galoob. So Mattel launched He-Man in 1982, and after a couple of years, they saw the success, and Galoob was like, we want to get some of that sweet, sweet He-Man money. They created Golden Girl. It was developed concurrently with She-Ra. It came out about 2 months after the She-Ra line did. And they not only had the 11 dolls that we talked about in the last video, but there were also 3 different lines of fashions. And each of the female dolls in the line got their own fashion for evening wear, forest wear, and festival wear. So we are going to show all of those fashions and go into it. I'm very excited to show you this. I'm also excited, in part 3, we're going to dig more into the merchandising. So these are all things that are part of the toy line, but they also licensed out a ton of other products, games and puzzles and lunchboxes and things like that. That's going to be in part 3. And in part 4, we're going to start talking about some of the lore of Golden Girl. We're going to start talking about what the story is. There was no cartoon. That's probably why it failed or contributed to it. But there was a lot of lore surrounding Golden Girl. So we're going to talk about what that lore is in part 4. But for this one, we're going to get into the fashions. Now I want to talk about some of the production inconsistencies, which I find fascinating because they happened a lot. Now, in terms of just some of the basic production, the way that Golden Girl was differentiated from She-Ra, it's so clear that they were not trying to imitate She-Ra. Again, like I said, if you watch the first video and look at those dates, they were developed concurrently. But even if you look at the packaging and the accessories, you'll be able to see that they are definitely different lines. It's not trying to copy one or the other. It's just something that is very, very different. Let's look at the packaging. So the Golden Girl packaging, we saw this a lot in the last video. Here you can see it's a full box. It's got that pink and purple artwork. Here is a She-Ra package. So you can see that it's pink and purple as well. And I find it interesting that as they were moving towards a potential second wave, they started to change the pink and purple coloring on this box to a light blue to further differentiate it. But you can see that this one is a fully enclosed box with the figure inside with a blister window, whereas this is a full blister pack that is attached to a cardboard backing. So it's all encased in plastic, whereas this is a full box with just the plastic window. So there you can see the accessories inside. This one, the accessories are kind of hidden behind the box there, and they both have information about the line on the back And even the style of the artwork, you can see this is much more floral and girly and pink and swirly, whereas this is much more straightforward. Just here's the line, here's the fashions, let's get this moving. Get these toys off the shelf, kids. Take them home and go play with them. In terms of accessories, in the first video, we looked at the shields and the swords and how they compared to She-Ra versus He-Man. Now, one thing that I really want to show you, because I think it really encapsulates how they were really trying to be a companion line for He-Man, but also they were trying to appeal to that fashion doll market, and that's the fact that She-Ra dolls and Golden Girl dolls both came with combs. But let's look at those combs. This is a She-Ra comb. So dainty, so petite. Little purple comb, oh so sweet, can brush the hair. And Golden Girl, the battle axe comb of lesbianism. This is an intense comb. It's much more useful than this little comb, but you can see that they're definitely working in very different worlds, very different ways of viewing how the accessories fit with the dolls. And then we have how the fashions are packaged. So here we can see this is one of the evening gown fashions for Golden Girl, and you can see it's a full dress, and a lot of their fashions for Golden Girls were much more full outfits. So sometimes they might be separates like a tunic and pants, but most of the time they were full outfits. Whereas with She-Ra, you can see that they tended to be more a headpiece, some sort of cape or shoulder piece, and a clip-on skirt or belt piece. So it was much more in separates, just putting them over the doll as it already was, whereas these were actual clothes. These were meant to be actual outfits. Here's another comparison where you can see She-Ra got sheer harem pants, and then we have this little suede lesbian adventure over here. I'm going to mention lesbianism several times in this video. If you are upset by referring to Golden Girl and her crew as potentially a bunch of sapphic sisters, then this might not be the video for you, because this little fringy forest number, I think I saw this at Lilith Fair in 1997, so that's all I'm saying. So in the last video, we talked about how the sculpting is different. There was much more detail paid to each of the individual bodies. The She-Ra dolls tended to have the same base model, and then they would lightly like carve in some differences for each of the dolls, maybe a lightning bolt shape versus an icicle or a flame or something like that. But they were pretty basic and they were pretty much all the same. Golden Girl had so much more detailing to it. They had the die-cast shields rather than the little plastic shields. They were heavy, they were impressive, they had gemstone accents. But then we have the issue with the lame fabric that was really cheap and would degrade right in the package. And also the plastic on the Palace of Gems is infinitely cheap. And when you see these fashions, you're going to see that some of the production on these is pretty chintzy. And so I find it interesting that Golden Girl put so much money and investment into some parts of the line, and then for the rest of it, they were just like, throw it together, get it out there, let's do what we can. Because the fashions can go either way. Some of them are great, and some of them are less than great. Now, before we get into the actual fashions, there were also a lot of interesting production defects, and I'm still sort of researching this, and maybe in a later video I'll do an update, because I'm thinking about starting to try to pick up some of these pieces themselves. But I'll show you some pictures that I found in eBay and other sale sites where it was pretty common for the dolls to be packaged with the wrong cape. In fact, for Golden Girl, it's actually been referred to as the blue variant and the pink variant, where Golden Girl, instead of having her folded over white and gold cape, she either has the gold and blue cape that comes with sapphire, or the gold and pink cape that comes with onyx. And those have been referred to in collector websites that I've seen as the blue variant and the pink variant. But beyond that, I've also seen several examples of dolls packaged either with the wrong cape or the wrong shield. So there was a Wild One doll that had one of the black and red reversible capes that came with Dragon Queen and Vultura, rather than her white kind of woolly terry cloth cape. And several times the shield is wrong. I've seen dolls that have, you know, Vultura or Dragon Queen that have Wild One's shield. And there's a lot of those. One that I found particularly interesting, it's a little bit pricey, but I might try to add it to my collection if I can get the seller to offer me a deal, is there was one where they packed the absolute wrong doll. So the die-cast shield is for Ruby. It says Ruby on the top, and I believe the cape might be for Ruby. You're looking at a picture here, so you'll see for sure. But it featured the Onyx doll. So they actually put the wrong doll into the box. It was a Ruby box. It showed Ruby on the back. It had Ruby's name, the shield. If I get it, I might open it to see what the accessories are, to see if they included onyxes or rubies. We'll have to see. But I found that interesting that in that one, the production was so mixed up, they actually included the wrong doll in the box. So those kinds of defects seem to be fairly common. When I was first getting into Golden Girl, and as I've been shopping and looking on eBay and other sale sites, I've been finding a lot of dolls that are packaged with the wrong cape or the wrong shield. But enough about that. Let's get into the fashions themselves. And let's start with the festival line. So this is the Golden Girl fashion for Festival Spirit. And Festival Spirit is a line of very metallic, very flashy, very kind of fun party. I don't think Coachella existed in 1985, but if it did, these would be the outfits people would be wearing to Coachella. And so here we have this beautiful gold outfit. Now, one of the differences in the printing, we talked about this with the dolls, that as they moved on to different runs of printing, they change different things on the package. That happens with these stickers as well. You can see this one is just a picture of the doll. It shows that it's Golden Girl. Later iterations also include the name and includes a little bit of text that basically tells you like, hey, this was designed for Sapphire, but it can be worn by any of the dolls. So I don't know if they were trying to let people know like, you can mix and match, you can do whatever you want. Kids are creative like that. They would have done it anyway, but there are some that are like rules kids who are like, no, that's Sapphire's fashion. She has to wear it. So they included a new little thing that said, hey, this is Sapphire's fashion, but anybody can wear it. So we're going to talk about the sort of prototypes. This isn't a great example, so we'll just kind of move on. And then as we get to one, I'll show you where the prototype that's shown in the pictures is much better than what we actually got. This one looks to be not too bad when you compare it. The same can't be said for Sapphire. So let's look at Sapphire, shall we? So if you look at this, and we'll maybe do a close-up on this so that you can see it better. And you can see that there's some sequins sewn to the sleeve, and there are several details, and this line in particular had several details that were made with like a metal kind of chainmail. This was very popular in the 70s and 80s where you would have those earrings that were made of a little bit of like discs chained together. They include those on the prototypes of the doll, and all they've done for the actual fashion is to take little gold sequins, put a seed bead on top of it, and call it a day. So the production of this compared to what the prototype was to kind of sell it definitely took a downturn, especially in this line. Here is Ruby's fashion, and once again, you can see they use some of that like disc chainmail for the front to give it a really flashy kind of look, and then just went with scattered sequins and seed beads. So definitely a difference in the material from this to this. So here we have Jade. I love Jade. She's one of my favorites of the heroes. And so you can see here, this one, not too much change. And we do have some seed beads here making this fringe. So definitely a little bit of detail on this one, but some questionable materials, this kind of meshy fabric. Very interesting. And when I'm shopping, I'll often just buy lots of things if I find a lot that has several fashions that maybe there's a couple that I already have, but there's ones that I need. I would buy lots to make it a little bit cheaper. So I ended up with 4 of the Onyx outfit. And I don't know why they did my girl Onyx dirty, because all the other ones got them color coordinated to their outfit. Whereas she didn't get a pink jumpsuit, she got a gold jumpsuit. And not only did they give her a gold jumpsuit that doesn't match her original coloring, they did the same thing where they've got the chainmail here and then just like an X of sequins. It's so terrible. This one really is probably the worst of the changes from the prototype to the actual fashion that was produced. Prince Chroma ain't no Ken, so he didn't get any fashions. Only the female dolls in the line got any expanded fashions. I guess they figured when the ladies were changing clothes, Prince Chroma and Ogra would be back with their separate teams doing boy things, so they didn't get outfit changes. But now we're going to move on to the villain. So this is Dragon Queens, and what I find interesting that, again, we've got these seed beads with sequins. On the prototype, it almost looks like little mirror pieces or something a little bit fancier. So again, I'm a little disappointed that we don't get to see what actually happened in the prototype, because it looks like that had a really cool effect to have those almost like little mirrored chips instead of just the sequins with the seed beads. And as you'll see in a lot of these in the packaging, there's kind of a little like body-shaped form that these are hanging on, and some of them, I don't know if people were like rubbing the boobs or what, but you'll notice that on a lot of them the bust area has some wear, and I don't know if it's just as they've been transported, as they've been stored, or if there's people like but the boob area in a lot of these does tend to have a little bit of wear, especially when we get to the evening gowns. Vultura's is looking a little bit rough. I need to look for one that maybe isn't quite so yellowed. There seems to be a little bit of degradation in this. Now, looking at the photo, again, it's hard to know from, is this a prototype or is this closer to what the actual thing is? It almost looks like the lame is brown instead of gold. Because this is so yellowed, I can't really tell, and I haven't seen this outfit outside. I'll look for some photos to include so you can see if it's actually brown, but I find this really interesting that it's got this kind of oversuit, and then you've got this lame that's not just a straight up gold, so kind of more of a bronzy brown. I think that's fun. Oh, Moth Lady. What in the Las Vegas Circus Nightmare is this? What is this outfit? Look at this weird, like, baggy Bermuda short. Pink and purple, pink and red. It's such an odd color. And then this weird vest. And it looks like she doesn't have the wings. Again, I don't know if this was cut for the wings the way that her original cape is, but they show her without the wings. I don't think the wings are just easily removable. I think if your doll doesn't have the wings, you ripped them out. I don't think they just like come in and out. Because I had a Moth Lady, and I'm pretty sure that they were there permanently, so I'm a little concerned about that. This one is not one of the better outfits, for sure. And then we end out the villains with Wild One. I'm interested to see, I have some doubles and things, so I'm probably going to open some of these, because I want to know how Wild One's outfits, I mean, this is a dress, so it's a little loose at the bottom, but she's got those really spiky, like, horned boots. So I'm interested, I know they say that, like, any doll can wear any fashion, Well, Wild One can't wear any fashion. She's certainly not squeezing into any of those pairs of pants with those big boots. But this dress, I think, should fit fine. I think it's kind of cute with the colors, and I think that whatever the prototype is, this is a fairly good representation of that. So Wild One, I think they did a pretty good job. The next wave of fashions is called Forest Fantasy, or as I like to call it, Lesbian Campground.
I want to be daring, baby, dance the night away. I let my head down if I want.
Now, Golden Girl is the least lesbianic of the Forest Fantasy. She's more like, in Mother Russia, you do not have fantasy about Forest. Forest has fantasy about you. But it's got the, like, 80s perestroika, like the big fur hat and the fur coat, and it's gold lame. Gorgeous, we love that. It's looking very fabulous, but it's very much that, like, Russian-inspired, like, mafia look kind of gold with white. Very glamorous, we love it. But we're about to get into some suede. So here we go.
Don't you just get tired chasing fame and being pretty all the time? Doesn't sound like fun. You can do better. Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can do better.
What, you thought I was kidding? Look at this little suede poncho with the little cutouts and the little button and a utility tote. So look at that. This is definitely Michigan Women's Music Festival. We are camping. We are here for the week. We're very excited, and this is great. I love it. This one has the full description, the name, and the little text down here. But this one's in pretty good condition, but you can see it's getting very suede, very outdoorsy.
So much better. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no flaws.
And here we have Ruby. And these look similar to what we had with Sapphire. I'm not sure if these are legs, if these are like leg wraps that just go up to the crotch. I don't really know what's happening under here, but it's a lot. It's pretty special, but it's definitely got the wrapping. We've got the red with the brown accents. And of course, a big butch utility bag.
I dare you to be wilder. I want to be silly, baby, dance the night away. I'll kick my shoes up if I want. Let yourself be free and maybe you will find that there is more to life.
Oh, look at this lesbian special. Not only do we have 2 shades of green, we also have this beautiful brown burlap at the top. Very fashionable. What 80s child wasn't looking to dress their doll in burlap? I mean, it was the latest trend. And a big green fringy utility tote, the lesbian tote bag. We love it. Kind of like a messenger bag. They've all got the flap that goes over, so it's sort of like a messenger bag. She's got some messages, and she's gonna come to your window and tell them to you. So be ready.
Being pretty, honey, let's just face it. You can do better. Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can do better, so much better. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no flaws.
And then we have Onyx. So here, she got a pink outfit here. I don't know why her festival outfit couldn't have been pink too. Because they used pink material for Moth Lady, so clearly pink material existed in their world. So I don't know why poor Onyx had to have a gold jumpsuit. But here, they try to make up for it with this very sexy, shapeless, pink fringed poncho. And gray leg wraps with a matching gray tote bag. It's just the height of 80s glamour.
You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into
All right, now we're moving on to the villains. Here is Dragon Queen. There's something about this. I don't know if it's just the circle when it's all kind of laid out. It feels very kimono-like to me. There's something about this that has a very kind of Japanese flair. But I think it's actually one of the more interesting of, especially of the forest fantasy, because it does give it a little bit more character. It gives it a little bit more attitude. It's got some color. It's not just baggy, shapeless suede. So I do applaud that. But again, a big old shapeless tote bag.
Your head down, be a little wilder. Baby, kick your shoes off. You don't have to hide it. Baby, let your head down.
Vultura, no surprises here. Big baggy poncho. We've got blue and black together, very much her colors. A couple of these leg wraps down here. The only thing is it looks like, oh yeah, we do have this bag up here. This looks slightly more purse-like than the other ones. The other ones are definitely messenger bag, utility totes, duffels, if you will. But this one has a little bit of shape, a little bit of styling to it.
A little wilder. Baby, kick your shoes off. Don't hide it. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no gloves. You can do better.
Here we have Moth Lady, more suede. This time she's got kind of a burgundy with purple. This is folded over. I've got two of these, so we'll show you the other one as well. The leg wraps, again, there's no crotch in this, so they seem to be just leg wraps that you pull up the doll rather than actual pants, but still definitely a different tack from what they did with She-Ra, where it was like a snap-on belt, a snap-on cape, a headpiece. These are trying to look like whole outfits and really trying to cover up their original sculpted outfit.
I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no gloves. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no gloves. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no gloves. You can do better.
And once again, we're rounding out the villains with Wild One. This one is not as much of a hit as the festival. This has kind of a stripy look poncho, but it's still the same kind of material, but it's kind of a weird shape. It looks like there's some tying that you do in the front, and then the bag is like also stripy, but a different color. And there's another different color here with kind of an overdress. This seems to be kind of like a shift dress that she puts this on and then wears this as some sort of like cape poncho kind of thing. It's not great. It's not great. There's also some kind of woolly thing here, but it's not in the picture, so I don't know what that is. I don't know what it's for. It looks like it could be a little bag, but that's the bag, so I don't know if it's supposed to be boot covers or what. It's questionable.
I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no gloves. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no gloves. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder.
And it wasn't all just butch lesbian campground fantasies. We're gonna go to the third line of fashions called Evening Enchantment. All my femmes unite.
I lose my breath whenever I see you. You stole my heart. What is it that you do?
So Evening Enchantment, as you might expect, is a line of evening gowns for our female fighters, because they probably need that in between hard battles. They need to get their dresses on and go to a gala. It's a tough life. And so this is Golden Girls, and you can see we've got the golden lame that they use with a lot of her outfits. What I think is interesting is they also brought in this yellow, which I think is very cool, to give a little bit of contrast, because her outfits have been so much gold lame, chain, little sequins. And so I love that they also gave her this yellow ruffle and this yellow neck ruffle and this little shawl that's yellow. So it gave it a little bit of a difference. Another thing I found as I've been collecting these is Sapphire's Evening Enchantment. There's actually 2 different styles available. It's the same style, but they used a different fabric for this white with the gold embroidery. So here you can see it's a much closer, smaller pattern, and it covers more area, and you can see we've got that on the skirt and the shawl. And then we have this one, which is more of just a white fabric with little spots of gold. So this definitely seems to be a little bit of a downgrade. And so there are 2 different versions, and I managed to find both of them. Also, you can see that the silver trim on the shawl is different on the 2 different styles.
Take me away. I want you for myself every single day. You set my world on fire. You set my
Here we have Ruby. This is a pretty straightforward red dress with this black and red metallic thread, little ruffle skirt, and these ruffled cuffs, and again, a shawl. Every warrior princess needs her shawl going into battle. We love that. And these little clutch purses. These are such a like Barbie staple. Not this particular shape. This is an odd take on that, but these little like folded pieces of gold metallic with the little pearl to hold it shut. Very Barbie. And so again, straddling that line between action figure and doll. This is one that really has changed from the prototype. This has a much more kind of solid but very beautiful jade green kind of look. And here you can see this is still beautiful, but it's this kind of fuzzy green with silver material, and then there's an overskirt in this kind of minty sheer color, and that's brought up to the collar and the sleeves. And here you can see that it was much more of like a sheer green, but it had that Kelly green that we associate with Jade's costume. So I think that the underdress is very much in that kind of vein, but I love this prototype, and I think that this maybe doesn't fully capture that bright green of Jade from the Emeraldine Isles. And now we have Onyx. Once again, she's got a pink dress, so I don't know why the jumpsuit had to be gold. I think they've done such a good job of color coding, and I think her pink outfits have been very beautiful. They look gorgeous with her darker skin tone. This is a beautiful, just like pink column gown with this silvery overskirt. Now, in the prototype, you can see they tried to bring in some gold. So pink and gold and white together, that could be very interesting rather than just a gold jumpsuit. But they definitely walked away from that and went to just a plain white shawl and just the silver and white in the details. Rather than bringing in this marigold, I think that's a real loss. I think especially for this character who stands out because she's got the darker skin, I think having this beautiful marigold contrast color would have been really beautiful and really made for a special experience for this doll. So I'm a little bit sad about this. This is another one that I think didn't translate very well.
Like the moon is the sun.
Now we have Dragon Queen. This is very similar, but kind of an inversion of Ruby's dress. So we have a black base dress, and then we have this red overskirt and kind of a black and red shawl. We've got the gold belt, kind of like the kimono look for the forest. We've got a little disc here that kind of keeps that theme throughout. I do like that they try to give some details that kind of repeat from one to the next to the next. So I think this is a solid fashion. I don't think it's great. But I think it does, for the most part, kind of recreate what's here. It does look like they did a little bit of like a sheer ruffle underneath at the bottom. So I think that that matches pretty well. So I think this was pretty solidly executed.
I just wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old. Just tell me you'll stay or take me away. I want you for myself every single day. You set my world on fire. You set my world on.
Now we have Vultura. In terms of evening enchantment, this is not terrible, but they did kind of do her dirty because, again, you can see the prototype down here. Anytime that they use some sort of lace, this doesn't look like any kind of real intricate, expensive lace, but anytime they use lace, that got cut, and we just went with a sheer fabric. And if you look at the shawl, so here it's like got lace and it's got a little fringe to it. This is just a cut triangle. They didn't even add any sort of fringe, any sort of trim. It's just a cut fabric, unfinished triangle. So they kind of did Vultura a little dirty, but I think that the dress itself is basic but cute. It's got the black and silver, and then it's got the little ruffled skirt down here, and it does have the gold belt with the black and blue accents. Moth Lady Evening Enchantment. This was my unicorn, my holy grail. This one I could not find anywhere. I was looking and I would find multiples. That's why I have so many multiples of some of the outfits, is because I kept trying to get all of the outfits, and I was trying to get Moth Lady outfits. They seemed to be really hard to find for a while. I could not find this in the packaging. So somewhere I have one that's loose that was put together. There's a company called, I think it's called The Inner Geek. And if they have a full outfit from something, they will put it into like a blister pack and seal it. And they fill out information about what it is. So I have one that I got that was loose that they put into that packaging. And now, because I'm a crazy person, and I don't know, once I had one, I don't know why I felt like I needed so many more. But I have a total of 3 in the package. Having said that, I can understand why this one might be harder to find, because I feel like this is one of the better ones. I feel like this, there's some red down here when you look at her prototype, and the belt was bigger, but the design stayed relatively the same, and I think that it's a really good execution. I think that it really does play off that prototype. And so if you're gonna dumb it down, if you're going to kind of simplify to cut corners, this is how you do it. Because I don't really notice this red thing that's on her, this like red, almost like a capelet that she's wearing over it. I don't mind that's not there, that it's just this sort of now a plain purple shawl. This dress is really beautiful. I think it's well done. Perfect. I love this. I'm glad I have like 4 of these in my collection. And the last of the fashions, this is Wild One. This is her evening enchantment. pretty well done. I think that it could be more interesting. I think that the colors that were in the Festival Magic are maybe a little bit better. This is just black and silver, the silver overskirt. It looks very similar to the Golden Girl, but in like kind of a reverse with the black and silver rather than the white and gold. But I do think it's pretty. There is some trim on her shawl, so they did a little bit of effort. And I think it looks pretty similar to the sticker itself. So this is probably not the prototype. This is probably what we actually got. And so I'm satisfied with this. I think they did a fairly good job. A little basic, a little boring, but not poorly produced. So there's other merch stuff that we're going to talk about in part 3, like puzzles and lunchboxes and Halloween costumes and all kinds of fun stuff like that. But there were a couple things that I wanted to show off. These took a little while to track down, and I did see a couple versions of these that were way too expensive for my blood. But I did manage to track down some that had really great deals. One I had to do a little bit of fixing to, but that's okay. And they are carrying cases. That to me is so 80s. Having Barbie dolls and your G.I. Joes and your Star Wars and your Golden Girl and She-Ra action figures all in these carrying cases. So this is the regular size Golden Girl collector case, and the top, the little handle actually comes up through an opening to keep the lid on, which is very smart. But so you just kind of push this down and you open this up, and it's going to give you some spaces to keep all of your dolls. And so you can see we've got 6 little spaces here, and one has a little door on it so you can keep accessories and outfit pieces and some of those little pieces that always got lost. If you had toys with little pieces, we know how you always ended up missing a sword or a helmet or something. This was to try to prevent that. You could put 5 or more of your dolls here. If you wanted them to each have comfortable space of their own, you could just have 5, or you could ram them in and make them sit together and all that kind of stuff. And one's a little bit wider, which is perfect for Moth Lady and her big wings. So I think this is really cool. It's really well done. And this is so epitome of the 80s kind of toy, kind of accessories that you would buy, these carrying cases. I think they're so cute. This is the one that was much harder to track down. There was somebody who was trying to sell this for $500. No ma'am, not in this economy. I was not going for that, but I managed to find one that was a little banged up. You can see the plastic is a little bit rippled here, and it was missing the little handle here. So all I did was bought a cheap Barbie carrying case, took the handle out, added it to this one, and that's all I needed to do. Some of the vinyl is not in great shape, but I love it for the artwork. So I got it for the artwork, and you open it up. So this one, it looks like came with stickers, or maybe they got the stickers from somewhere else. But they have the stickers with the names, and there's more room. There's more room for outfits and pieces. This is clearly missing some of the cardboard, and so this is not in perfect condition, but it's double the size. So if you really love Golden Girl and you have a much bigger collection, this one is going to give you much more storage for your fabulous action figure fashion doll warrior maiden going to Coachella after her lesbian campground adventures. So I love it. I love their artwork. The artwork's so good. Why didn't we get a cartoon? Galoob, what were you doing? Why didn't you give us a cartoon so we could have had this? Oh, I'm so mad about it. I'm still mad about it. So that is it for part 2. If you want to see all of the individual dolls in the line, all 11 dolls with some variations and some discussion, if you want to see them compared to She-Ra and He-Man, go check out part 1 of this series. And if you want to see all of the other fun merchandise that I've come across, some things that I've been able to get into my own hot little hands, and some things that I've only seen in pictures, I'm still hunting them, still trying to track them down, but I've got some pictures and I've got some things to share. Definitely come back for part 3. And if you want to know more about the lore and how the characters are described, how they relate to each other, and what the story of Golden Girl is, then keep an eye out for down the road. We're going to have part 4, which is going to feature the lore of Golden Girl. And at some point, if I have any updates, there may be a part 5. One thing that I know is going to go into an eventual part 5, I'm still kind of figuring out what it would all include. I mentioned earlier, either in this video or in the last video, that Golden Girl seems to maybe have had even a little bit of a bigger fan base in Europe. And I've started to add some of the European releases to my collection. So I have 2 of the fashions, Vultura and Jade, both of them from the Evening Enchantment collection. And you can tell that they are the European releases, not only because you get to see another language on the packaging, but we have this symbol here for Orly Jouet. And we're going to talk more about that company and how they relate to Galoob in an eventual part 5. So you can Google them for now, but if you want to know more about how they fit in with Golden Girl, that's going to be coming in the future. And I also have one of the dolls from the European releases. This is Vultura, or as they called her, Vature. And so this is, I believe, the French release. And this has a beautiful, it's a little bit sun faded. The packaging is the same as the US releases. So it's not this color because of that. It's super sun faded. You can see there's a little sticker down here that's yellow and pink. And you can't even read the text because it's just so sun faded. And this is very sun faded, but this would normally be the same colors as all the other boxes that we saw. Another thing that's different is the back of the packaging. So rather than showing all of the characters in a line and then the fashions in a line, what they do is they take each of the characters and you see Golden Girl and her 3 outfits, Sapphire and her 3 outfits, etc. All the way through all of the characters and the villains. And then poor Uggos, Prince Chroma, and Ogra down at the bottom. They don't get no changes of clothes, they don't get no love, they don't get nothing. So they are just down here. And then we've moved Golden Girl's palace and horses and chariots over here. And then there's a big thing over here about the fan club. This is something I need to research more. This may be why it seems to have had a little bit more popularity, or maybe even a little bit more interest or staying power in Europe. I want to know more about this fan club because there's this young woman who I think is a French celebrity who is on all of this packaging, and she's in all of the ads where they talk about this European fan club. And so I need to know more about it. I am a dumb American who only speaks English, so it's a little bit tough sometimes for me to get the information. I have to kind of check it and recheck it and Google Translate and all that. But I'm going to be looking into this to find out more about this fan club. So I hope you've been enjoying this video series so far. Let me know down in the comments below, what is your favorite Golden Girl product so far? Were you aware of Golden Girl before you saw this series? Is this something new to you? Let me know what you think about these outfits, these crazy outfits, this lesbian campground adventure fashion, all of this suede, these evening gowns with the boobs all rubbed off. Like, it's a lot. It's very interesting. I am fascinated. And what I love about collecting Golden Girl is because it maybe kind of fizzled out before its time because it didn't have that cartoon, it's much easier to find a lot of the Golden Girl products still in the packaging. Outfits still in the packaging, dolls still in the packaging. That Palace of Gems has been really a unicorn to try to find. I've only seen it even listed a couple of times on eBay. It comes up every once in a while. The most recent one that I saw, there was a US listing for $1,700. I actually was bidding on one that started at like $500, and that one sold at $1,350. I don't know about the Palace of Gems. I don't know if that's my destiny. I don't know if that's gonna happen for me. I hope so. There is this toy collector who's been doing like 3D printed reproductions of old like toy playsets and things, so I don't know if I put a little bug in his ear if he would ever think about maybe doing that for the Palace of Gems. So let me know down in the comments what products you would like to see. If you have a rare find, let me know, and if you want to share a picture, I will show it in a future video and I will give you credit. So let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, you can tell me you liked the video by giving me that thumbs up, or if you are sick of this, if you're a She-Ra fan and Golden Girl is just trying to steal her thunder, go ahead and give me that thumbs down. I don't care. I don't mind. It is all engagement. The algorithm isn't a picky bitch, and neither am I. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you'll be notified of all future uploads. I try really hard to upload at least one video a week. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, you might even get a bonus video. Ooh, prototype-tastic. If you'd like to chat, banter, or commiserate between uploads, all of my social media will be linked down in the description box below, including a link to my website, The World of Champagne at janessaj.com. Thank you so much for watching. I love and appreciate all of you out there, all of you Gemstone heads, all of you Golden Girl fans. I am so excited to have you on this journey with me. If you're in the Facebook group, if I creep on your profile and ask you if I can use your pictures, please say yes. I'll give you credit in the video because I really want to show off as much of this as possible. I really want there to be a resource on YouTube for not only collectors, but just for fans. And yeah, they have to put up with my loudmouth commentary, but they can also see all of the fabulous products that were created for Golden Girl. So I hope you love this series as much as I do. I've been having so much fun. And until I see you again, bye. And while you're down there, so this is the Golden Girls collector case, and this is very similar.
Do you want to say Golden Girls?
Oh, I don't care.
I know, because it's like when you do the plural of the dolls.
Yeah. But
I wasn't sure in this one.
So this is the Golden Girl collector case. Sapphire. Sappho, am I right? It's a lesbian joke.
The boobies.